Welcome to Hope is Here, bringing hope to those struggling with life's difficult situations.
Welcome to Hope is Here. My name is GregJHorn. We are continuing our conversation with speaker, author, pastor, and life coach Tommy Lanham. And we had a great time yesterday talking about how to break out of your mundanians. And that's a original word there that Tommy created. Man, we had a fun time, but I also talked about some serious stuff that the enemy kind of keeps us sometimes in paralysis by analysis, things such as fear, self-doubt, and lack of focus. Man, if you missed yesterday's 14-minute program, I really want to encourage you to go check that out. Go to our website, hopeisheretoday.org. That's hopeisheretoday.org, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on all the major platforms, iTunes, Podbean, Spotify. We have a YouTube channel. Just go check out and subscribe if you listen to that podcast. And, man, if you've been blessed by our program, make sure you leave a comment. Let us know that. It's encouraging to us and people that support Hope is Here Ministry. Well, those of you that listen to Hope is Here, you know my favorite word is hope. Well, the favorite word for Tommy is enthusiasm. And Tommy, you definitely, you don't talk about it. You also walk that walk, and haven't been a friend now, thanks to our good friend Tom Haley. I've seen you model that for many, many years, but talk to us a little bit. Like, I know a lot of people say, hey, man, I want to be enthusiastic, but I don't even know how to do that. So first of all, let's just talk out about that question. What is your enthusiasm zone?
Well, Greg, again, I appreciate being on your show, and I love the fact that your word is hope, my word is enthusiasm, and I think those two words work very, very well together. It's difficult to have one without the other. And our enthusiasm zone, I identify enthusiasm this way. Just to give a background on it, the E-N in enthusiasm comes from a Greek word meaning in, and the T-H-U-S is a form of the Greek word theos, which is the Greek word for God. And the original meaning of enthusiasm meant God and you are God-inspired. And I have leaned heavily on that definition and come up with my own personal definition. And it's this: enthusiasm is a God-inspired fire ignited deep within your soul that drives you to never settle, to live with passion, and to turn the world upside down. So when we're living in our enthusiasm zone, that is where we are. We are living out that God-inspired fire that's ignited deep within our soul, and it gives us a drive to never settle, to live with passion, and to turn the world upside down. What a place to be able to live that life that God has called you, that running that race with perseverance that he set out before you, that living that life to the full that Jesus came to give us, and having that fire and living that out. That when I talk about the enthusiasm zone, that is the place I'm talking about.
Well, I love that definition of that. And I remember when I was an assistant basketball coach at Western Kentucky University back in the early 90s for Ralph Willard, who was a disciple, best friends with Rick Pitino. And one of the things that he always said to our guys, and that I picked up on even as one of the coaches, that, you know, to have success in life, you must do it with a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. And yet sometimes, I mean, you don't feel like being enthusiastic, but I've found that, you know, you can actually manufacture enthusiasm if you choose to, can't you?
Absolutely you can. And we like to walk people through 8 decisions in order to enter and break through into your enthusiasm zone. And real quick, we use an acronym of the word enthuse, which gives us those 8 decisions. And here's the 8 decisions. Embrace your weird, never settle. The T is for turn the world upside down. The H is for hope. There's your word. Hope as you climb to your God-given potential. The U is utilize the power of positive failure. The S is set goals. The second E is engage your heart. And the D is discover your purpose.
Well, I love that acronym, and we you did that when we had you on, I believe, last summer, if I'm not mistaken, and just got some really, really great feedback by that. And I'm a big acronym guy, too, and I just love how you break that down. But let me ask you this. Why should people, they're listening, say, why should they want to break through to their enthusiasm zone, Tommy?
Well, that's a great question. And listen, if you just want to live in your mediocre, monotonous, mundane world, then there is no reason to break through it. But if you want something more than just the monotony of the mundane and the mediocre, you feel like there's more out there, that it's, sometimes even in the church, what we do with Christianity is not exactly what I read about Christianity in the Bible. Sometimes Christianity is, okay, we work hard to lead people to Jesus. Now we're knowing they're going to heaven, and now they just kind of go back. They avoid sin, but for the most part, their life doesn't really change a whole lot, and then we just go and try to reach somebody else. And when I read about people's lives in the Bible who became Christian, it wasn't just about avoiding sin. Their lives were transformed. Everything about them was radically changed. And they lived this life. It wasn't easy. Matter of fact, it was oftentimes difficult and sometimes led to their persecution and even their death. But as you read about these people, you see that they had a God-inspired fire. When you read about Paul, you can see that he had a God-inspired fire ignited deep within his soul, and he never settled. Even in the face of death, he never stopped. He never got to the place where he goes, you know what? I've started enough churches. I've led enough people to Jesus. I'm just going to take it easy for a while and let somebody else take over. He never came to that point. Why? Because he had this enthusiasm. He never settled. He lived with passion, and he turned the world upside down. He made a positive difference in the world because of this drive that he had from this God-inspired fire.
Well, I love that, and I like to move forward, but I want to go backwards for just a second. I sit there as you were sharing about enthused and that acronym and that first E, that embrace your weird. When you hear that, it makes me want to laugh out loud. But I think it's so true that part of reason we can't be enthusiasm is because we're trying to be somebody else instead of just embracing how God made us. Have you found that to be true and helping people with learning about how to have enthusiasm in their life?
Yes, I have found it to be true. Oftentimes, listen, we can learn from other people and we can model other people, but we do not want to copy other people exactly. Because when you try to be somebody else, the best you can be is second, but you can be number one at being you. And God created you to be you. You think differently, you speak differently, you act differently, and as long as we are embracing the weird that God created us, when I'm saying embracing your weird, I'm not saying, just do all that you can to be extremely different from everybody else. I heard a guy say one time, you can always spot a nonconformist because they all look alike. And sometimes people take that to think, I just want to be so odd and so different and so radically opposed. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being the person God created you to be. And you will find similarities with other people, but nobody's going to be exactly the way God created you except you. And when you embrace that, and don't try to change that. Don't be ashamed of that. Don't compare yourself with others. Just embrace who God created you to be. Man, that will help you break through to your enthusiasm zone.
Well, I love how you share that, because I'm one of three brothers. There's three of us, and one's a college basketball coach. The other's a doctor, and I'm not as athletic as the coach guy. I'm not as smart as the doctor guy, but when I just embraced how God made me, and it took me a while to get there, but it just made life so much better. And so I believe somebody listening today, I really believe that was a word for you, to embrace your weird. In other words, as Tommy said so much more eloquently, just, embracing the uniqueness of how God has designed you and just be you. And man, there is so much freedom when you do that. Well, Tommy, speaking about,
can I say something
absolutely.
else to that real
Go right
quick?
ahead.
You're right. It makes things so much better for you, but I also believe it makes things better for others. When we embrace our weird, it helps us to help others. Others will benefit from us embracing our weird.
That is such a great point. Other people are missing out on a blessing, and somebody gave me a magnet one time after I was going through a really challenging season of life, and it wasn't real masculine, but the message was powerful. It said, bloom where you're planted.
Yep.
And I think that goes alongside that about just embracing your weird, your uniqueness, and also not trying to think about being somewhere else and then I'll be enthusiasm. Just bloom where you're planted, and God can use you exactly where you are right now in this moment, in this time. Well, Tommy, I love that, you talk about enthusiasm. That's your word, and you're going to do something that I think is just going to be really, really special. I'm so excited for our listeners. You based out of New York City now, but you're coming back to Kentucky in September for the Enthusiasm Experience Retreat. Talk to us about what that is.
The Enthusiasm Experience Retreat is our signature event that we do. We do it every year in September. It's always someplace different. This year it's going to be in Lexington, Kentucky at the Clarion Hotel. And it's September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And what we do here is we take 50-plus hours and we walk through these 8 decisions. And it is it's the enthusiasm experience. So this is like a personal growth seminar as a party is what it is. We have loud music. We have a lot of movement, a lot of jumping up and down. And we also have those moments where we are very intense and we're looking, we're reflecting, and we're working through these 8 decisions. We get some one-on-one time. We have some group time. It is just an amazing experience that we go through.
Well, I know that it's going to be a great blessing to people. I'm honored to be able to be a part of that, and I know people are like, okay, I want to find out more information about that. Talk to them about that, and I know also that there's a special opportunity as far as price-wise right now too for the Enthusiasm Experience Retreat here in Lexington, Kentucky, in September 6th through 8th.
Yes, you could get more information at TommyLanham.com. It's right there on the front page. You could click on the Enthusiasm Experience, get more details. You can also register there. The pricing right now is $297. And here's the interesting thing about it is once you purchase a ticket, you could take anybody with you, as many people as you want with you, for $97, for an additional $97 per person. And so we want this to be a team effort. If you go there with somebody, you're much more likely to continue living out these principles if you're there with somebody than if you're going through it alone. Now, the general admission is $497. So right now it is $297, and will be that through the end of June, I think it is. And so if you're interested in going, look into that and make that decision, because that price will jump up on the 1st of July.
Well, I hope you'll take advantage of it. Just a great opportunity here locally. You could stay in your own bed and save lodging costs when you normally travel to a conference, but this would be a great opportunity for you to do that locally, and I'm going to be blessed to be a part of that on the Saturday part. And so, I hope that you will go to Tommy's website, TommyLanham.com, and find out more information and get registered, take advantage of this early bird discount price that he's offering for the Enthusiasm Experience Retreat on September 6th through September 8th. If you're driving, can't write this down, we'll have that information available on the podcast of this program. Just go to our website, hopeisheretoday.org. We're out of time, unfortunately, but for Tommy Lanham, I'm Greg Horn. We'll see you next time on Hope is Here.
Thank you for listening to Hope is Here podcast. To listen to one of our previous programs or to make a tax-deductible donation, please go to our website, hopeishere.today. That's hopeishere.today.